All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open Rolf Dobelli's The Art of the Good Life. We're not just going to talk about it. We're going to pull out its most powerful ideas and build a mental toolkit you can start using, well, right now, to find a little more clarity and a whole lot more satisfaction. So let's start with the big one, right? What is a good life, really? Is it about piling up money, chasing success, or maybe just being happy all the time? We're constantly sold this picture of a perfect, flawless life. But today, we're going to take that idea apart and look at a completely different way of thinking about it, one that's actually achievable. You see, according to Dobelli, the good life isn't some finish line you cross after years of struggle. Nope. It's a system you build day by day. It's the sum total of your smart choices and, this is crucial, having the right perspective on the world. It's not about adding more and more stuff to your life, but about building a better framework for living it. So here's our game plan. We've got 6 powerful mental tools to cover. First, we'll redefine what a good life even is. Then we'll talk about simplifying your decisions, how to stop that nasty habit of comparing yourself to others, freeing yourself from expectations, mastering your emotions, and finally, this awesome idea called the wisdom of elimination. Okay, first up, let's start with something that might sound a little weird. We're all taught that a good life is about getting more friends, more cool experiences, more knowledge. But Dobelli says, hold on a second, the journey to a good life actually starts with subtraction. Just think about it for a second. We are drowning in noise, right? News alerts pinging on your phone, social media trends that change by the hour, endless opinions coming at you from every direction. Real wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about having the clarity to see what's just noise, and then having the discipline to tune it out. It's all about focus. And that leads us perfectly into our second tool. Our lives are just jam-packed with tiny, meaningless decisions that completely drain our mental batteries. It's a real thing called decision fatigue, and it's a huge roadblock on the path to a good life. So this is the battle that's happening inside our heads every single day. Every little choice, what to eat for breakfast, what to wear, which email to answer first, it just sucks up your limited brain power. The solution? Automate all the trivial stuff. Think about Steve Jobs and his black turtleneck, or famous writers who eat the same lunch every single day. By creating simple systems for the small stuff, you free up all that mental energy for the big, important, creative decisions that actually move your life forward. All right, tool number 3. And this one is so important in the world we live in today. Comparison. It is probably the biggest thief of joy out there. It's a game that's totally rigged against you, a game you can never, ever win. So what's the alternative? Dobelli gives us a really powerful one. Turn your focus inward. The only person you should ever be competing with is the person you were yesterday. Are you just a little bit better today? A little wiser? A little more disciplined? That is the only race that leads to real growth and, actual satisfaction. Let that one really sink in. Every single time you scroll through someone else's highlight reel and feel that pang of envy, you are literally handing over the remote control to your own happiness. The first, most important step to living life on your own terms is to take that power back. Next up, let's talk about a source of unhappiness that comes completely from inside our own heads. Our expectations. We create these detailed blueprints for how our lives should go, and then we're crushed when reality, of course, doesn't follow the script. I love this because it makes happiness a simple equation you can actually manage. See, it's not about having a perfect life. It's about closing that gap between what is and what you think should be. And listen, changing reality is hard, sometimes impossible, but changing your expectations, that is 100% in your control. The moment you start seeing life as just a series of experiences, not a checklist you have to complete, everything changes. Okay, our 5th tool is all about handling life's curveballs with a bit of grace. Look, in a well-lived life, your emotions are like signals on a dashboard. They're important, but they should never, ever be grabbing the steering wheel. The secret is knowing the difference between an impulsive reaction and a thoughtful response. Let's play this out. You get a critical email from your boss. Path A is that instant gut punch reaction. You get angry, you get defensive. But path B, the wiser path, introduces one simple game-changing step, the pause. That little bit of space between the trigger and what you do next, that's where your freedom is. It's the freedom to choose a smart response instead of a dumb reaction. And that choice almost always leads to a much better place. And this isn't about being an emotionless robot. It's about being the master of your emotions. The ability to stay centered when everything around you is going crazy isn't a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of mental strength. It's maturity.
And that brings us to our final tool, which kind of ties everything together beautifully. What if, instead of always chasing the good, the real secret to a good life was just systematically avoiding the bad? This is what Doubeli calls wise negativity, or the wisdom of elimination. So what does this look like in the real world? It means you're actively building defenses against the things that ruin a good life. It's making rules for yourself so you don't make dumb, impulsive decisions. It's having the courage to cut toxic people out of your life. It's studying the common mistakes in your field so you can sidestep them. It's designing your environment so you're not constantly fighting temptation. At the end of the day, a good life is often defined not by all the things you add to it, but by what you have the wisdom to take away. It's the clarity and the peace that you can only find when you've bravely cleared out all the junk that was blocking your path.
So as we wrap this up, it's so important to remember this one thing from Doubeli. There's no secret recipe here. There is no one-size-fits-all plan. This toolkit isn't a prescription you have to follow perfectly. It's a set of principles you need to take, play with, and apply to build your own path through your own unique life. You know, a good life isn't a place you arrive at. It's an art form. It's a skill. And like any skill, it takes conscious daily practice. It's not built in one big moment, but in all the small, wise choices you make, day in and day out. So, I'll leave you with a challenge. Thinking about everything we just talked about, what is one small thing, a distraction, a comparison, a bad habit, that you will consciously choose to ignore or eliminate starting today? Because the art of your good life begins with that one single choice.